Hello, my name is Sainabu. I'm so excited to be at the third episode of Building the Bridge. My name is Sainabu, like I said, and I am a faith-based hip-hop and R&B artist from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm also a music educator and CEO of this startup business called The Bridge Music Center. And in these video series, I will be taking you along the journey of building the bridge, all the way from the foundation to the interior design to the events to follow. Last episode, we just stopped at the process of building the foundation, stronger foundations, clearer visions. And when I tell you, the stronger that the foundation got, how the floors were being cultivated day by day, the more that I was able to see and get a clear vision of not only what I would have liked to do, but what God would have liked to do with this space. And in the process of me coming in ever so often to kind of see how the space was looking, throughout that process, a day came that it was finally done. And when I tell you, not only did my vision of the space get clearer, my vision of success had just begun. All right, this is the finished. This is the finished result, guys. Let me clean off my screen. All right, this is the finished result. Hello, light fixtures. Okay, and we're walking. This is to the right of us, our bookshelf. Throughout that time, I was an elementary school teacher teaching music and theater first year at a local elementary school. And during that time, I was just so excited, had so many big dreams and an even bigger God to fulfill these dreams with, all for the kingdom. As a first year teacher, I was so excited because I never thought that I was going to be a teacher, which was the funny part. I thought that, later down the line, 30s, 40s, dare I say 50s, I would get into the educational route of being a music teacher, for I was not shutting that down in the future. Thankfully, I was able to get this job very seamlessly, in the knowledge and the knowing that God was having his hand all within this process. But child, I love teaching. I love teaching elementary school children the power of music. Planting those seeds of music appreciation within these kids is just so beautiful. So as an artist, I am naturally a very bold artist. Bold because I do not worry about what my competition is doing. Matter of fact, I do not compete. I do respect the healthy forms of competition, which we can be able to use as artists to amplify our integrity in driving our visions of success forward as an artist. But naturally, as a creative, I just found myself to be in a place where I did not compete. I did not kind of put myself under the heat of what was popular. I didn't put myself under the heat of what was acceptable, but I did have that natural passion for music, and I see music in a sense of music being powerful. Music is a force. Music is our ability to express ourselves, our vehicle for messages to get across. And insightfully, it is very in accordance to even the nature of sound, where we have a wave that is flowing through a medium, whether that be water or air or liquid, flowing and transferring messages in a frequency from one wave to the next. And so I find it very not coincidental that that is the way that we are able to get messages across. That is powerful, show ourselves in a way that expresses different ideas from one ear to the next, from one heart to the next. I see music for its ability to change, not only biologically, but mentally and spiritually. Is a change agent, which we have in music. So as a creator, whenever I create music, it is not for quantity. It is not for how many views I will receive. It is not for how many accolades I can be able to attain. It is for the quality of music, what I am saying, the messaging that I am sharing to my audience in order for them to have a transformational experience through my heart that I'm transferring to you through my music. Whenever I found Jesus to be my Lord and Savior, I took his teachings, I believe it was in 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians, where it expresses our views of boasting. It just catapulted my music to a whole different perspective. I'm not boasting in nothing, no accolades, no worldly desires. I'm not boasting in putting people down in order to get up. There's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we can lift. There's nothing that we can share. There's nothing that we can be able to do. Long story short, like the list goes on and on of how us as human beings want to work to be able to receive the Lord's love. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can do. God is love. He needs your obedience. He needs your obedience. And so whenever I found it, became into the revelation that Jesus died on the cross for our sins, it doesn't just end there. We as well rose with Jesus whenever he rose from the cross, whenever he rose from death, whenever he conquered death, we rose with him. So don't forget that essential piece of the puzzle. I will be tagging it below here, the specific scriptures. But don't forget that the gift of salvation is a gift from the Lord. There's nothing that we could have done to do that. There's nothing that we could have said, sang, rapped, punchlined out to receive God's love. It is through his grace that he gave us this gift of salvation, to be free, to have life more abundantly, to boast in nothing else, because nothing else is necessary. All we have to do is give our faith in Jesus. And shameless plug, I will be coming out with a EP this year. Shout out 2026 for my next EP. That will be fully faith-based and fully sharing my journey of my faith, praising the Lord fully in a musical works. I'm so excited. Y'all stay tuned for that musical project. That is why even to this day, making music and music making is one of the most beautiful and serving things that I can be able to do. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when he says fearful, it does not mean the shaking in my boots type. It does not mean, running away scared type of fearfully and wonderfully made. It means that he created us in awe. He created us. Love created us in a place of respect. The respect that you have for someone, those people that you just respect them so much you're kind of scared of them. That is the same integrity that the Lord threaded all of us before we were born. He had plans for us. And that is along the essence of why I don't compete, because I already had the inclination. It was so written in my heart that I was an individual, that I was unique. And as we take that, we can even take that same term and say that the essence of who I am is almost like a timbre. In music, timbre is a term that we use whenever we describe the quality of a sound. When we describe when different instruments play that same note, for instance, if a piano was playing in A and a trumpet was playing in A, the timbre is what set these two instruments apart. It is the quality of the sound, the color of the sound that sets these instruments apart. Not only instruments, but in voices as well. How can you recognize my voice? It is because of my timbre. How can you recognize your mom calling your name versus your father calling your name? You know, it is because of the timbre of their voices. And as we can explain the originality that all of us have as artists, that all of us have in our artistry and our music, we all are sharing a different timbre, a different texture, a different color of how we are showing up on our social media feeds, on our day-to-day people that we touch. You know, we're giving our timbre every single day, and that is so important, because we're all different and we're all fearfully and wonderfully made, and we all share our own different timbre. And just circling back to the bridge, whenever I figured out that the floors were done, the next step was, what color are we gonna color this thing? How are we gonna color this space? How can I share and express the Lord's flavor in this space? And so I simply asked him, Lord, what color should I color the bridge? And he said with a quiet and clear voice, pink. Now, mind you, I am not a pink girly. That's how I knew it was the Lord. When I heard pink, y'all, it had to be him. If you know me, you know that I'm not a pink girly. Maybe a dash of green, maybe a dash of orange, scarlet, but pink? I had to pray. I had to make sure that specifically this is what he wanted. In the essence of me even making a mistake, I prayed and I communed with this confirmation. And once I did receive the confirmation, I was excited. I was excited to not only share his will, like to fulfill his will through obedience, but I was also kind of intrigued by what the color pink would turn me into, what the color pink would turn these people who would enter this building. How would they even feel? How would the pink, do for them? Another message that I did receive from the Lord was that the color pink would represent love in this space. And that amped my integrity to see it through and to be obedient, because love is who he is and love is what he embodies. So the rest was history.
You're looking at the color. Is it my beautiful pink? There we go. Pretty and pink.
Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. I pray for your timbre to be developed as you just continue to trust God in your artistry, continue to trust God in your field of work. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for our third episode of Building the Bridge. Have a blessed day.